Hi, welcome to the final part of my run through of all my magazine as well as digest size comics, UK comics, Indian comics and a few French comics as well. So let's just run through them. This one, Sexton Blake, this is from Rebellion and it's got some stories, comics there. It's also got some great articles as well, The Death and Life of Sexton Blake. Also it's got something from that 1908 penny pictorial, got a little there, Lady Molly's First Case. It's also got lots of information about obviously Sexton Blake as well, which is really good. Nice little book there, The Return of Sexton Blake. I don't know if it's still available around Treasury of British Comics, but still this one came out, when was it? 2021, 2020 as well. Oh, this one is a very unusual one. The Suttons, collected comic strips by Phil Elliott. And the reason I got it, 3 years in Maidstone, obviously my hometown, even got an introduction by Alan Moore as well. So you got there the Suttons, showing obviously parts of Maidstone, which is always good. It's nice to have a comic collection about Maidstone. There is a few other comic collections or books about Maidstone done in this. Nothing, unfortunately, I've got here. Good old Alice in Sunderland. If only there was a brilliant book of Maidstone in that same format. I would love to see it. But still, this is really nice. And you got there an introduction again by Alan Moore from Northampton, as it says there. These ones are Tiffany Jones. I got these at the Comic Mart and this is it. Got two collections there. I would love to see these in omnibus. I do not know. Now I've got an Italian copy that's got quite a lot more of Tiffany Jones, but they're just basically comic strips there, newspaper strips. I think it was the Daily Mail. I'm quite certain it was the Daily Mail. Might be wrong, please put in the comments below. And also if you know of any other collections of Tiffany Jones, but this is a nice little set, but that's it. Newspaper daily comic strip library, so you can obviously check out those, volume 15 and volume 14. This one is lovely, Mickey, the Journal de Mickey, obviously a French one, or maybe Belgium, I don't know, I'm just saying that. Yes, France, I assume. See, 150, so you can see that in francs, obviously quite a few years ago. I'm not certain when it was actually dated. You've got Mickey, you've got all the standard characters, Donald Duck, of course, and you've also got all lovely adverts for other ones there, Donald Duck, etc. Another one there, and you can see lovely in colour all the way through. I think the French comics used to be and are much better sometimes than the UK ones. I do not know why we could never have had them all in this sort of lovely format. Whenever I go to France and I look at all the magazines, I think, wow, their comic collects just superb in comparison with the ones that we got in the UK. Just do not see, though of course we have got 2000 AD, which I think is pretty amazing, but it's still lots of those old comics. We had them all just in black and white. So sometimes it's always, when you see these, you think, why didn't we have all ours in colour as well? But I grew up with them in black and white. I'm fairly used to it in black and white. And actually sometimes, of course, you can actually see the artwork so much better, I think, in black and white. This one, I'm of course going to say that we didn't have any colour. And there, of course, we have some colour there. TV comic starts today, Space Patrol. This one is from 1964, Popeye. Always remember getting these. I love these TV terrors, but a lot of it was in black and white. Again, would have been nicer, obviously, if it had been in a slick colour. And that probably was the reason things like Look and Learn always looked amazing, because, of course, they were colour. You had those sort of ones, but not all the comics were like that. You had most of them were in black and white, Telegoons. Now, I was just quickly looking for the Space Patrol. It's probably in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Space Patrol. So you can see the Space Patrol there by Roberta Lee. There's that story there. Now, what's this one? Oh, this is Vampiress Camilla. Very unusual one. Issue 1. So, Vampiress Camilla, obviously very similar to Vampirella, sort of similar style. And you've got there the stories. Now, I think they're quite good. I mean, I quite often pick them up in the shops. I have had other issues, but this is the only issue I've still got. So, there's another story there. Artwork's great. And there's another one there. Now, I'm not certain particularly much about the artist, but still there's there. This one, Indian. I didn't know it was Indian when I picked it up in the shop. I must admit, 49 pence from my local Oxfam. Obviously turned up, and I don't know about any of the stories. The Secret of the Dolls. I don't think there's any stories that I'm familiar with at all. So it's even got lovely, interesting articles. Why we call them newspapers. And there as well. And you can see details there. Now, this is the only copy I've ever seen in my logo, which is surprising. I would have thought more would turn up with this sort of digest format, or maybe other Indian comics as well. It would be nice to see those. Oh, so you've got a holiday special advertised on the back, number 7 there. Oh, 96 pages. Now, this one's a fairly old one, and it's probably going to fall to pieces where I'm just picking it up. Oh, and it is going to fall to pieces. I can't even open it. And always the way. This one, lot of fun, I should say, lots of fun. The Monster Story and picture paper, and you can see there you've got all the various holiday carnival on Marzipan Island. Can't beat Marzipan Island. The playful pranks of Rough and Tumble, the acrobatic twins as well, no less. What other ones? Mere 2 old pennies as well. Oh, not all of it was colour. So you've got here the antics and something I can't. Antonio, I think. The sack was quite boneless. I have no idea. He wasn't a bit tired. Anyway, Billy's own Bonnie Bussons. So I love picking up these ones. I don't know when this was. This was 1923. So this is 1923. I thought I've got a few more of these, but I couldn't find them when I've been going through all my various comics. But I've got this one here, A Funny Wonder. Now this one is a specimen copy, no less. I do not know. Oh, 1929. So you've got there, it's a Kinema one. I assume cinema, sort of, some of the people, maybe a Kinema couple. Funny Wonder every Saturday. Marmaduke and his ma. Pitch and toss. I have no idea. Actually, all look very good, but unfortunately a nice rip all the way through the comic. Now the next one, what's this one? Oh, here's a couple of these. Now, for some weird reason, my local market has hundreds of these, and I quite often flick through them, and most of them I'm not particularly interested. I like the more unusual ones because they often command it or something. Ones you can get still in the shops, of course. But this sort of one, Air Ace Library, and this one is an Air Ace Library as well. So you've got this one, Deadly Dilemma, and this one's an action one. Mob Rule, obviously a crime, and so this was a format. So you had like 2 panels like that, and that was it, or maybe 3 panels in that case. 3 panels. Seems to have been basically going backwards and forwards between 2 and 3. Now, I don't know if it's got some other adverts for other ones. Let's just quickly... Oh, yeah. Secret Agent. That was another one there. So 6 tales of nerve-tingling tension. Secret Agent. Oh, holiday special. And also another one here. Action. Skyjack. Number 22. So you got those. And also... Macy War. I don't know why the romance ones never turn up. I have never seen any sort of romance ones that... now, I have got romance ones somewhere of this sort of format, but I'm not sure where. So it's probably somewhere else, piled away somewhere else. However, Vulcan. Now, I quite like this one, but I've only got 1 copy. I have seen quite a few copies over the years, and it's got, of course, quite a few of the famous ones. Spider, the Crook from Outer Space. You've also got Kelly's Eye. And of course, my super favourite. I loved this when I was growing up. It's just brilliant. Billy's Boots. Unfortunately, not in colour. It would have been brilliant if they'd done it in colour, but I just always love that story. I always feel that they should have done sort of one with tennis as well. One with cricket, maybe Bobby's bat or something. They could have done that sort of thing, couldn't they? Or, no, I was thinking of different ones for ball or something, or racket. There must be Roger's racket. Someone's probably done that. However, this one. Trigon Empire, that's obviously the classic one. Now, they've been recently reprinting those, got 4 volumes of Trigon Empire now available. Now, I have no idea if this story, I can't remember if this, I'm certain it is already available in that collection. But there is that. I don't know how many books are left. I've got 4 so far. I don't know if there's a 5th or 6th volume. I have no idea. But still, here's the Trigon Empire. And this is in Vulcan. How much was it? 8 pence. 8 pence, 1976. This is an unusual one. Thunder Action. It's the only copy I've ever seen. And when I saw it, I thought, very strange. Dynamo and No Man, of course, Tower Comics from Wally Wood, etc. And it's done in a very unusual style. It's done like this. It's done like the Titan magazines in this sort of format. So you've got, obviously, near after the whole story there, you've got Dynamo, Thunder Agent, Menace of the Iron Fog, and great new Dynamo t-shirts. That would have been brilliant. £3.50. That would have been nice to get. Also, this one, there's another story here. Again in black and white. Thunder Files, The Cloud of Death. Now, they went for a more standard format there. Thunder files. Let's just go back. Oh, there's another one here. The Mercy of the Iron Maiden. The Dynamo one. So this is a nice little guy. I don't have any issues. There were, if it went to issue 2 or 3 or 4, I have no idea. But I saw this one, issue 1, I thought 75 pence. Well, I didn't pay, I think it was about £1 or something. New limited edition. Ah, that's a big clue. Maybe there wasn't that many of them. I'm really pleased I got that one. I love that Thunder series. I've got quite a few of the Thunder comics, and whenever I see anything like that, I think also Alan Class, they used to print quite a lot of those as well. Finding Out, a modern library of education. They had loads of these magazines, and you often have binders. You'd have 3 or 4 binders that you could put all these magazines. Now, I love these ones. I always love picking these up. And you've got here Rock from Volcanoes. You've also got Boy Achilles. I'm not certain why I got this one. I suspect because of this artwork. I love the sort of Greek artwork here that's been used. And also, of course, it's got Roman as well. So that's a great little issue for that. There's this one, Brian Bolland. Now, this Brian Bolland, Actress and Bishop. I bought this fairly recently. This is from Gosh, $7.99. It's part of Shift Presents. Now, I've been sort of looking at Shift quite often. I think, oh, but this one, immediately I saw it, Brian Bolland. And I really hope they bring out more of these sort of ones that are devoted to one artist. I love this. Really, really good book all the way through. So you've got Brian Bolland, superb artwork. Black and white. Also, it's got some great little interviews, articles, etc. as well. So I think it's just a great little magazine. Red Dagger. This is an unusual one. Killer Kane. This is a reprint from an early magazine. Unfortunately, it doesn't say which magazine, but here you've got first published in 1976. Now, I don't know actually when this actually came out. It's always the way it says first published in 1976. Maybe it was actually 1976. Let's have a look at the back. Oh, this is actually 1980. So this is 1980. And it's got here, all in Tasker. I don't remember. Oh, that's the Red Dagger as well. So Red Dagger story. Obviously, this is Red Dagger. This is issue 7. Now, there was also a similar one for girls' comics. There was Lucky Charms, and they would reprint stories, say, from like Ginty or something, or Tammy and those sort of things. Sort of nice collections. Belle of the Ballet, etc. Or Belle of the Bar. And, well, it's all black and white all the way through. And really, really nice artwork. And I don't know about the other issues. I assume they were also war-based as well. And, of course, you've got a lovely... there, the Hawker Hurricane on the back. I know absolutely nothing about planes. Anyway, Girls Crystal, 4 old pennies, a Sunshine Weekly. I'm not saying that was a sort of category for it, a Sunshine Weekly, sort of obviously the publishers or something, they put that on all of them. I have no idea. For Honour of the Phantom Circle. And this one is Bridget all on her own in London. It's an Irish girl goes to London and all of her various adventures. You've also got other ones as well. That's just, most of it's black and white. So you've got that colour on the cover there for the Honour of the Phantom Circle. So you've got that story there. And also you've got Star the Sheepdog. And other stories, of course. But Star the Sheepdog. Meg weighed herself. Now that's what you call great comic books. Weighed herself regularly on a little weighing machine in the farm kitchen. But one morning, of course, the dog is also on it, obviously confusing the weight slightly. That would be rather depressing. She, of course, goes around and then tries to Vorp. Now, I'm not saying if the issue is called Vorp or if it's just called Vorp. It just says Vorp, but Vorp. Daleks Omnibus. Now, it's not really a comic book, but still, it's got some comic stories, so that's why I've included it. Also, it's got lovely, just great pictures all the way through it. There's a lovely one here showing, obviously, some artwork there. But there's also other artwork as well. Doctor Who, and that's obviously William Hartnell one. It's a William Hartnell story. Often, quite a few of these stories, they often had other characters. The assistants were never the ones that seemed to be on the TV. So there's another TV comic there, Patrick Troughton. You could basically look at him and say, it's sort of Patrick Troughton. Obviously, that's definitely John Pertwee. And, of course, you've got other comic strips there. And that was the reason I bought this one. It was from Gosh. I assume it's still readily available. I have no idea what was in issue 1, 2 and 3, or obviously issue 5. I assume that's out now, or soon enough. Street comic. Now, this is an unusual one. Adults, we get lots of these in my hometown, in Maidstone, in the Oxfam. They seem to turn up, so there must be some people that sort of getting rid of obviously their underground comics. So street comics, number 4. I remember seeing a lot of these in various shops. You could pick them up all over the place, and didn't particularly pick up many of them, but they were fine. The actually artwork, and of course Gosh is great. You go in Gosh and they've got a whole wall of these sort of wonderful books like this, and yeah, some of the artwork is pretty impressive, and some of it's very unusual as well. Some great little unusual stories. However, one thing about this is great. It's got a lovely advert for Dark They Were and Golden Eyed, science fiction world plus comics, posters and badges. I don't remember the badges more. I guess there were badges, but I must admit the badges bit was never. I've never been into badges. So St Anne's Court off Wardour Street. Though I have got a pile of old ones, like the Fantastic one. I've got a Fantastic badge and a few other badges. Must look out for those somewhere. Afterlife with Archie. This is a zombie one. Put Archie there, obviously surrounded by many of his friends and family. Something's happened in Riverdale, and everyone's suddenly gone zombie. Well, quite a lot of people. Of course, they're all attacking, and then other people turn into zombies and so on. So it's a real good yarn and very well done. I really enjoyed it. This is issue 3. Now, I haven't, for some weird reason, haven't got the other issues. I don't know why, but I've seen various collections as well. So I've read the stories. So you got here some reprints from earlier 1970s. Now, Archie comics, there was some, I don't know if they've got a little blurb here. Yeah, you can see there, Afterlife, Chilling Adventures in Sorcery and Madhouse. So these were originally published in 1970s. Well, that's a great little magazine. I don't know if all the others were like this. This format magazine, obviously slightly oversized, but whether they continued with this, I don't know. This is the Beano one. This is 1969. You've got Biffo on the front cover. Dennis the Menace was on the back at that point. And you've got here Lord Snooty. You've got all the various regulars that were at the time. Bash Street Kids, of course. I love the Bash Street Kids. Always great. And also, let's see what's on this one. Roger the Dodger. Another, obviously, favourite as well. And also this Billy Whiz. Great. I wonder how fast he would have been compared with Quicksilver or the Flash. But still, they never had that sort of crossover. Should have had. Really should. That's a crossover waiting to happen. This one is from 1949, a lot thinner, and you can actually see it's slightly smaller as well. So I think it's definitely not as big at all. Yeah, you can definitely see slight reduction in size, but still at the same time it's also a lot thinner as well. A nice rip as well. Biffo the Bear is still on the cover, and you've got here some stories like here, The House That Jack Built, and let's see what's on the back. This back one here. Also you've got tech stories as well, so slightly different from obviously the Beanos that are nowadays. So 1949, and this is another 2D one, 1950. And you've got there. So the dog there, and Biffo throwing a banana. Obviously, you know what's going to happen. Whenever there's a banana in the story, you know what's going to happen later. Ding Dong Bell. Also, you've got Have a Go Joe as well. And also the Magic Lollipop. I'm not saying what was, oh yeah, there's the magic. It's a snake again. Another text story as well. Someone's actually seems to have coloured that in. Unless it was actually coloured before. Dennis the Menace again, and this one's 1969. Again, Biffo's still on there. I see much the same characters, Bash Street Kids. And this one's 1951 again, and Pansy Potter's on the back. And let's just see inside. Tick Tock Tony, the Clockwork Horse. That looks great. I love the way they did that. No word balloons or anything. It was all just the text underneath. Now these are load of look and learns. This one's a Ranger, also incorporating Ranger. Not all of Look and Learn, some are including Speed and Power. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them because, of course, I've got a pile here. I'm just going to quickly flick through them. You can see the sort of style. Seven Eyes Smith, not certain what that was about. It's a Western sort of thing. Ranger, there you've got Jason January, Space Cadet. Again, some of these things would be brilliant if they were brought out as collections. I don't know if there was a collection of Space Cadet. You've got Rob Riley as well, and Russia's Space Woman, and Too Many Spies, and not all of it was colour, of course, but Princess Tina there. Oh, actually, at that point it was called Tina. I've got one of those, really great little mags as well, similar sort of size, format as well. So you've got there, that's 1967. Now I picked up a lot of these at the market. They're always at the market, Look and Learns. And this one's 1973, so that one's 67. So you've got there, Look and Learn, obviously it changed. So it's more sort of articles, not so many, hardly any actually. Actual cartoon strips or anything. I think there must be a cartoon strip. Yes, there is. Dragon Empire. That's at the back. But most of them all disappeared by that point. So 48 pages every week. I didn't buy it regularly. It was one of the ones I looked at. I remember looking at it quite often in my local newsagent, but I didn't buy it on a regular basis. Also, you've got Spin Power, another one, Look and Learn. This is 1976. The President Who Loved Adventure. Again, they always had some great artwork. And that, The Magnificent Storyteller. I guess it was really quite inspiring. You read these articles and you think, oh, I must go off and find out more about all the various writers. Francis Wild West as well. It's a very informative magazine, this one. Now, not particularly a comic book, but still did have some. Now, this one, again, is not really so much a comic book, I suppose. It does have some comic stories, I think. Maybe I'm always certain. Yes, it does have a sort of comic book. This one, Once Upon a Time. They're similar size to the old Look and Learn ones, 1967. This one is from 1971. Just really great artwork. And you had Peter the Boaster there. And other stories. And the artwork, I don't know who the artist was. It'd be nice if there was collections of these. Of course, a lot of these magazines, comics, you can find them obviously online. They turn up on eBay and places. But you've got here, The Golden Box. Very, very nice tales. But of course, all lost away in these sort of magazines. And unless they get reprinted, of course, no one is probably ever going to know about them. Unless they're sitting in sort of a loft somewhere and think, oh, that's be nice to bring out. But you've got here, Town Mouse and the County Mouse. Again, a little story there. But I've got quite a few of these ones. Quite often when you buy these, you end up getting piles of these ones. Lots and lots of piles of just Once Upon a Time one. So you don't just get generally one, you get like about 10 or 15 of them, and they're sent by that. So I've got quite a few. Just quickly, I'm just going to show you the covers because otherwise I'll be spending ages going through all of them. But Once Upon a Time, and this one again is 1970, 1969, and this one Once Upon a Time, 1969. Again, I have to quickly check up to see the date. Everybody Wants Brer Rabbit. And again, the stories, you've got obviously Mona Lisa on the back there and Leonardo da Vinci, etc. And I mean, someone look at that. I mean, slow, but just really great illustration. I mean, that would be really good on the wall. You put that up as a poster on the wall. Absolutely fine. This is reproduced from Palace Gallery, apparently. And also this one, again, Town Mouse, obviously a popular story in here. But also Barty Bat. And many other stories. Slowpoke, you've got there, Brer Rabbit again. And again, you've got some just lovely illustrations all the way around there. Once Upon a Time, and no, I've got a few of these, so let's just go through that one. That one's 1970. And now on to Look and Learn. And again, just quickly go through them so you can see the covers more than seeing the individual pages. Otherwise, please rush forward if you're not remotely interested in seeing lots of Look and Learns in a row. So Look and Learn. Another Look and Learn. This one's 9 New Pence, 1971. Oh, Spot the Carnival. Don't see many of those. Not around here anymore, sadly. That is, Lord Black Rats. However, Red Squirrels. Dragon of the Birchwood. Got that. 40 pages again. Our Island Fortress. A new series begins inside. And again, these are 9 New Pence. Issue 1971. Oh, this one's a Ranger one, so 1967. Obviously, a lot of ones that are Ranger ones are 1967. I mean, look at that. Just a really good, absolutely great little cover. Oh, got a lovely advert for 6 exciting new Fleetway super specials. There you've got Missile Menace, Evil Shadow, etc., etc. The Immortals. Oh, spider there. Wow. And also you've got here, from then to now, a lovely one, that one, Libraries. So you've got great little stories there. That's not a story, obviously, it's a factual sort of display of what was happening back. Now, this one's slightly smaller, Journey into Space. I'm not certain. That would be really quite unusual if all these kids were walking around on the moon like that, but still makes a great cover, if nothing else. And the Vikings, of course, you've got a lovely The Land of the Norsemen, and also some other lovely look at. Again, that's the thing about these magazines. They were just brilliant for lots of, and they also used to have lots of these sort of showing, which I always love. Ones that would show inside people's buildings and that sort of thing, all the structure of a skyscraper or something like that. Japan's Great Balloon Attack. The Reign of Terror, another one there. And The Man Who Dared Tell the Truth. Well, I'm not going to look and see who that was, but just quickly go through. That's 1976, 1976. Oh, this one, the shot that started a world war. Obviously there, got a famous scene there. And General George, and of course an advert for, was it Corona? Corona! Yeah, that one. I wonder, is Corona still going? I had an unfortunate name, didn't I? Unfortunate that one. But anyway, Look and Learn. And this one, The King for Christmas, Subway to the Pole, The Emperor Who Liked to Play Chess, etc. So lots of great little articles there. And again, other ones here. I better quickly rush through. Look and Learns, and then I'm going to get on to the various other magazines as well. But this one again, incorporating World of Wonder. I don't remember that one, World of Wonder. That must have been another magazine. And there's another one here, 1975, World of Wonder. This incorporated quite a lot of magazines, didn't it? Yeah, there's lots of ones got included into Look and Learn. Oh, obviously another good reason to get this one was for Romans. Quite often when I pick these ones up at various markets and things, I would flick through them. So I think, oh, that sounds good, like a Roman one. I would buy it just for that. Also, of course, sometimes not particularly into speedway or anything, cross-country scramblers, but still, oh, colour camera took. I love that, colour camera took. That's very nice the way I've done it. Island of Fear. And Rare Breeds on the back. Oops, I ripped the page again. And another one there. And this one's Father of Nobody's Children, Dr. Beano. And also The Wild West. That, I think, is all the Look and Learns. Now, let's go through the next one. Now, I did say earlier in the video that I didn't have any romance ones, but I've just been looking through my cupboards and I found some. So this one's True Life one. I love these ones. They're just great. They're really, really nice little stories. And these ones, I think, were from 30th Century Comics. They've been selling quite a few of these sort of collections of small sort of, these digests, Tell True, and they're all 1960s. Sometimes they even date them, I think. Oh, first published in 1963, but I think this one is probably not. This one's fabulous. You can see the date there. I had that one. Don't know what happened to that copy. That was a real great annual, that one. Fabulous 208, 1969. And what's the... There's probably an advert in the back. Let's just go there. Oh, no, it's not. It's Dionne Warwick. So that's that. This one, Time Will Tell. Another one of love story. You often have, look at 856. Incorporating. Another one is sort of joining. Incorporating True Life Library 6p, as it says there. They go, oh, the artwork was really quite good. Really quite. They obviously, I don't. Sometimes they never actually said the artist. This was first published in 1961. Never included the artist's name. It's such a pity. IPC would be nice to if they had done that, but still, this is another one. Guy with Go. Obviously, that was a 1960s one set in the obviously swinging 60s. And this one, Commando, Miss Hellfire, a fairly recent one. Now, this one's a slightly an unusual one. I'm just going to bring these out. And I picked this up. Now, there was loads of these. Loads and loads of these. I wish I bought more because they were £1. It was £1 for a whole bundle of them. And I wish I got all of them. I didn't really know much about them or really gave much thought about it when I picked it. I thought, oh, that's good. Dream Christmas. And I think I only bought it because of that. I thought, oh, Christmas. I love Christmas, Max. So, but this is the... Again, I'm not certain what they do with these. I assume this is for printing purposes. They've been printed off or something, and you've got all these lovely ones here. It's really, really super sharp, really nice, super quality. Really love these. So this is this one, and it's Love Stories 409. It's even got, I think it's even got an advert in it somewhere. No, I have no idea what this is, but it was just, I saw this, I thought, oh, that's interesting. So it's instead of obviously printed out, I think you've obviously got that, and you've got the magazine there. So that was that. Now I'll put that in the bag. The next one's a Tiger one, Tiger magazine. So let's just put that away, otherwise I'll be umming around trying to put that back in the bag and failing miserably. Tiger. This one is 1982. A fixed advert on the back. Can Eddie Tops, and oh, of course it's got lots of football in here as well. I never really thought, you know what, I never bought Tiger. It was one of those ones that I just did not buy Tiger, which is odd because it did have lots of great stories, like Billy Boots was one of my favourites, though the artwork style seems to be slightly different. I don't know who the artist was by this point, but it does look different from, maybe I'm just wrong, maybe because it's in colour, it just makes it look different. But it just looks different. Johnny Cougar, I remember that one. Remember Johnny Cougar. Oh, Nipper as well was another one, and I don't know who that one was. Well, it's a bit unusual one. That one's Death Wish. Blake was bored, but he wasn't going to be bored for long. And Billy's Sports School. Oh, Billy's Sports School. So another lucky reader wins £5 in Billy's Sports School, which is always great. Another Tiger, this one, probably slightly 1983. Now, I don't know if Billy Boots was still going, Nipper was still going, Pete's Page, Tops on T2 wheels. So there's a variety of different stories in here. Obviously, Johnny Cougar, Air Ace booklet. Oh, there was some football, of course. It was still Trevor Francis. I remember Trevor Francis, really good. Really liked Trevor Francis. And, oh, Billy Boots, he was in here. I just wondered if he was going to be in here. There's no use putting Billy Dane, poor old Billy Dane. It was just, his boots never worked sometimes. It was sort of like, that day, you know, if the diary turned around and said there was flu, etc., then poor old Billy would go, he would be ill. He wouldn't play as well, or he'd miss every shot. And then, of course, he'd read the last entry in the diary of that for that game or something. I don't know why, it was always on the next day or something. He'd read it and it would turn around and say, and then he scored 6 goals in the last minute. Though I'm not saying how that would be possible, but still, he could always do it. Some miraculous sort of, the ball would bounce off the pitch, bounce off into the goal, bounce back out the goal, straight to the halfway, and then back into the goal again, back, and then you get 6 goals in that 1 minute. That would be a spectacular end for a comic, wouldn't it? And that was, of course, always in the World Cup final, or probably the FA Cup final, or League Cup final, one of them. And they're always playing against some team you never heard of, which is surprising. That Hot Shot Hamish. Speed. Oh, Speed again. That was in Look and Learn, wasn't it? Ranger. Oh, there's a load of these ones. Billy's Sports School. Skid Solo. And those sort of things. Nikki for Girls. This is December 31st, 1988. And there can't be many after this. Girls comics. Or boys comics. I think that must be about it. 1991, 92. I'm not certain when it basically, that run through of all those comics that have been going for probably 80 odd years suddenly stopped. It all completely changed, and lots of, if you go into the shops now and see all the various magazines, nothing like this. You've got 2000 AD, that's about it. Shift and a few others. But still, it's full of some great little stories. New Year's Party. Now, of course, some of the annuals continued on a bit longer than that. You've got here all the sort of things that probably were the death knell for lots of these. The blue jeans, Jackie and patches, like photo novel ones, fashion ones that sort of came in. They were probably in, obviously, a bit earlier as well. Let's just, oh, got here, pin up. Good old Tom Hanks there. That dates it. The Secret Piano, which I felt was a bit like a number of stories, but Billy's Boots. Instead of, obviously, this time she's been taken control by this, obviously, dead pianist, who's forcing her to enter music competitions. So she's sort of playing, and of course she's become considered arrogant and all that sort of stuff. And she's playing away at piano. She's getting lessons of how to, those sort of stories. They had those sort of things. Very, very unusual stories back in Nikki for Girls. Now there's another one here, Nikki for Girls. I picked up all these at my local market, I'm quite certain. This is 1988. And quite a few of these sort of magazines, the ones I sort of pick up, I just sort of go through it. Oh, you know what? I'll have that bundle of different ones. This one's the Comp. And no drinking, it says here. I totally disagree, etc., etc., etc. All dressed up for somewhere to go. Got there. And also, what's this one? Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves. Sounds like a certain politician. I don't think so. It was a ballet one in this one. I'll get that part, it says. But she completely ignored me. And Questions. Oh, that looks a bit like the Scream thing, maybe left over from when it's Halloween. But can you sleep? Who knows what you'll dream? There's another one here. Again, all 1988. I think it must be a run of them. So you've got here, obviously, a bonfire one there as well. He's just right for our bonfire. Actually saying that, he's probably alive. No, that would be a weird story, wouldn't it? The Wicker Man. Actually, some of these stories, quite often when you look at them, you think they got away with some really weird sort of stories in some of these comics. Maybe not Nikki, but certainly the Ginty ones, or some of the sort of Misty. Misty, quite often you would have character sort of stuck on the bonfire. I'm really alive, help. Or this one, there'd be some Victorian one here. In the early Victorian times, some private schools were often places for unloved, unwanted children, unscrupulous teachers. And they'd often like trapped away. Oh, some stories you think, what? Really? But still, there's loads of these stories. And just the two, oh, it's still just the two of us. And there's the Mandy one there as well. Judy and Bunty. Clearly they were still going. The annuals anyway, because the 3 times. But whether the actual comics were still going at that point, I do not know. 26 pence. In Ireland, 40 pence, including VAT, it says there. Oh, another Nikki for girls. Oh, this is 1989. Again, like I say, must be near enough the end, and the style of artwork was certainly changing on the cover. I mean, I'm certain that sort of cover would not probably have been in the earlier. Now that style of artwork there, I'm just looking at that. I sort of suddenly, it just reminded me a bit of Love and Rockets. Which is sort of that style. That's strange. I don't think it was Jamie Hernandez or anything like that, but it's just strange. The school trip, a frosty reception at the village disco. Pupils from East London were on a school trip to Wales. And of course there's the usual complications and horse riding. And don't pick those, they sting. Also, I love that one. Bike Shed Wool. Pauline and Jamie. We hope you have a lovely wedding. All those sort of things. Right. Lovely bits at the end. For some weird reason, some ink obviously was dropped on these ones. I don't know why. This is an unusual one. Esmeralda, all colour weekly for children, 5 pence. Very similar to sort of Once Upon a Time. A bit smaller, but it's got some, again, great artwork as well. I mean, it's really, really nice artwork all the way through these. Now, not many actual stories, but some still. This one, Robin's Clever Plan. Okay, it's never going to particularly be the greatest of stories, but still, obviously, for young kids, I think a fairy tale for sleepy heads. Very, very nice little artwork there. This one, Beezer, for boys and girls. So it was trying to obviously go in both sides. Now, most of the comics were either like for boys, the wizard, those sort of things. Obviously, now, but back then, it was very much boys and the girls' comics, you'd like, I never looked at girls' comics back then. I would never even thought about even, but still now you think, some great stories that were just completely, utterly ignored because of that sort of silly. Anyway, Beezer for boys and girls. Every Tuesday, 5 old pennies. And that was 1967. Mr. Flippy. I remember that. I must have read that years ago. Mr. Flippy. Very odd, Mr. Flippy. And the trouble with Beezer was it was always sort of, because it was like a standard newspaper, you got Colonel Blink, and again, it's not a sort of stories that they would probably run in any shape or form now. Not acceptable. Little Mo. And actually, some of these other ones, they've been talking about, obviously on the TV, radio and things, talking about various books and stories. And I'm thinking, I wonder if they'll ever go through some of these comics and say, what were they thinking when they wrote some of these stories? But that was back in 1967, 1970. Young Sid, the Copper's Kid. I always love that sort of rhyme in there as well, didn't they? The Numbskulls. Again, sort of My Pal Ropey. But still, that's Beezer. They always seem to be very scruffy, unfortunately. Whenever I pick up Beezers, they always, because of this format, they're always a bit crunched over and crushed like that. I guess some people have got really nice condition ones, but for most ones I've got, they always seem to be there. Oh, this one's a lovely one. Girl. This is 1957. So you got here Wendy and Jinx, A Race for Life. Again, ripped it straight away. This one's Your Pets. Oh, by Barbara Woodhouse. Wow. Yeah, can you even see Barbara Woodhouse there? Illustrated by George Bow. Obviously famous for a, well, slightly different role, but still, Barbara Woodhouse case. Wow. Lettuce Leaf, The Greenest Girl in School. Wow. That artwork's remarkably familiar as well. Look at that. Anyway, it's just strange. Amazing when you look for these ones, you think Vicky the Phantom Lake, Susan Marsh, The Ghost of St. Bride, Ghost of Mr. Bride, of St. Brides. Obviously a nursing story there. And then, let's just see what this one is. London's Burning. So this one's The Pilgrims. Oh, Stuart England. These sorts of great little stories, Stuart England. How many comic book stories are set in Stuart England? Very few. Maybe, probably the Fire of London, maybe. Probably some of the, of course, historical ones. They did lots of that sort of thing back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. Historical stories like these sort of things. Wow. Yeah, loaded wherry floats. Oh, past the Tower of London. Will go by water, etc. Actually, I'm watching at the moment Discovery of Witches. I'm watching the second season, which has been brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. I didn't enjoy the first season, but the second season, because it's set in Elizabethan times, somehow just completely brings the story to life. And I'm sort of thinking, wow, this is great. And of course, there's all various characters, obviously Kit Marlowe and those sort of people turning up as well. So it's a great little story. But anyway, it just reminded me that wasn't Stuart England and vampires or anything. Maybe there should be some Stuart England vampire stories. I'd buy it. Crisis. And I don't know who's in this one, but again, this is sort of one I probably picked up in my local Oxfam shop. Oh, it's got Robin Hood, but not the Robin Hood as you know it. And who's it got in it? No one. Oh, Grant Morrison. This one, Bible John, page 29. So page 29. It looks a bit like Dave McKean artwork there. Is that Dave McKean artwork? I know it isn't. I'm quite certain it's not. Daniel Valley. Very strange, but it just happened to remind me of Dave McKean's artwork there. Very strange. 2000 AD, a monthly. Zip it creep, it says there. And of course it's good old Judge Anderson. The Possessed. Actually, I was sitting watching the Judge Dredd one again. Sylvester Stallone. Pretty awful, but still at the same time. Actually, I caught the sequence. It was quite a good little bit. I thought, oh, that's... I haven't seen it. I preferred the later one. The Judge Dredd one, the recent one, was far superior. But there's obviously Anderson's Side Division. Actually, of course, they never brought out a number 2, Judge Dredd 2. I would have loved to have seen that. I don't know why they didn't, but still. Oh, this is a 100-page Christmas special. And Judge Dredd and all the various characters in here. I'm certain Judge Dredd. Oh, there's Judge Dredd. I knew Judge Dredd would be in here somewhere. As well as some of the other stories. Misty Winter Special. I thought I had that one. I probably maybe... I don't know if I showed that or not. I thought I had that one, but anyway. Some other parts of the stories here. The Time Twisters. Time Hygiene. So you've got the stories on the back there. Strontium Dog. 2000 AD, Through Her Dark Past Darkly. Lovely gothic cover there. 20 pence. Again, one of the ones that quite often pick up these sort of lovely... obviously a certain character from a certain something else. But, you know, no resemblance, of course. Future Shocks, all in colour. Looks right. Oh no, some of it's in black and white. So you've got black and white there. Oh, Comic Mark. Where was that? Oh, that was obviously the TUC Congress one. I used to go there a lot. So that's the Great Russell Street one. And Forbidden Planet, number L, no problemo. Oh, they were in Oxford Street there, New Oxford Street. You of course got the other ones. Brighton. I didn't realise they were in Brighton. Cardiff, Dublin, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Milton Keynes, and New Oxford Street. I always thought they were in Croydon. Maybe, anyway, I just confused myself on that one. Copy of Whoopi. Got a whole mix of different comics. Quite often these are ones that you just pick up at markets. You think, I'm going to get that. Even though perhaps, you know, I didn't probably buy that many copies of Whoopi. In fact, I probably didn't buy any. Mine was always Whizzer and Chips and a few other ones. But still, lovely little artwork there. And you've got another one, Tom Horror's World. Quizmaster, Santa Claus, Cheeky Christmas Crackers. And next one, Princess Tina. This one, Inside Lots of Winter Fun. This one's got Jane Bond. Now, they're bringing out a Jane Bond one fairly soon, I believe. So Jane Bond, that should be interesting, that collection. And also this one, the Westwood, the Wagons. It was a nice size format. So you really got some really great artwork. Now, I've got a complete massive, weirdly, in French, Princess Tina one. And it's absolutely brilliant. It's got lots of the Jane Bond ones. But it's still, unfortunately, it's in French. It's not the easiest of reading. Let's see. This one's Nature's Oddity. The Queen's Protector. This one is, the period is King Henry VI. There, Marguerite. And Dawn of the Islands. There's another story there. Did they have that story that I always quite like? The Wizard of Oz. See, weird. Wizard of Oz. Isn't that lovely? The Wizard of Oz one. And a Roman one. Nope. Probably not in this one. Sometimes they had certain issues had certain things, and sometimes, of course, I can never open the page. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Moira, Slave Girl of Rome. I would love to see them bring that collection out. That would be something. But I suspect it never will. But Jane Bond, it's great that they're bringing those ones out. And Alona, the Wild One. Devilina. This is from Atlas Comics, or Seaboard, as it said. Illustrated stories of female field fantasy. Devilina. A sister of Satan meets a gruesome fate in the devil's domain. Some really good artists as well, of course. Some brilliant cover there. And that's always good. And also, obviously going to include a lot of different artists, but sadly this magazine did not last very long. My apologies for the sunlight, I just keep noticing it's got... Can't do much about it. If I ever move the blinds, there's always a different position, more light comes through. And you've got there Midnight Muse, Merchants of Evil, and you can see all the different artists involved in there. There's also a lovely one with the Tempest. I love this one, Lay of the Sea, a lovely good old mermaid story. Don't know how many comics with mermaid stories there are, but I'm certain there are probably a few. But this one is a mermaid tale. There's also another tale here. And this one, William Shakespeare's The Tempest. Always love a good old adaptation of a Shakespearean play. I am looking forward to going to the Globe fairly soon to see The Tempest. That's definitely something. As You Like It as well. I think there's a few other ones. And a Comedy of Errors this season, I think. So that should be good. Always love going to the standing area. It's £5, but it's just brilliant because you're really in the action. Everyone's like, well, it's cheap seats. Well, it is cheap, obviously you're standing. But the thing is, it's just far more dramatic, I think, being there because you literally the swords and everything are flying around you kind of thing. It's just brilliant. You're really in the action. You can really feel, you can really get to the point where you, with the Globe, you really feel like you're actually in that time. So it's a bit like the Discovery of Witches without all the various issues that would come from that. Scorcher and Score. Get that around. It's always, that was a great title. I thought Scorcher and Score. 4p. I bought this all the time. I love this Billy Bremner. I was a mega football fan. I just not so much now, but back then, I just in the 70s, I was just loved all this sort of Bobby of the Blues. Just great little story there, and also Billy's Boots again. Always was a favourite. I love that one, Billy's Boots. Though I must admit, I always felt that there's something about it now. When I look at it now, I think, well, it's bit of a cheat, wasn't it? These boots. I always felt that they should have done a story later on where it basically showed that he didn't need the boots and he was still a pretty amazing player without the boots. It was just, you know, he just had that initial sort of push. But it was still great little stories. I enjoyed the drama of the stories as well. Norwich City, Jim Bone, Crystal Palace and Liverpool. £1 goes to, oh, with his selection. That was quite good. Oh my. Roly Poly Rovers. I don't think they would do that now. Club called Manchester City. Slightly different from the Manchester City now. Let's have a look. All the various, formed in 1894 apparently, after appearing in the league as Ardwick. Wow. There's lots of these clubs, of course, where there was church was involved. There was a lot of very early things were based on church, and also cricket as well. Quite a lot of these clubs were sort of mix of cricket and football in weird sort of combinations, and it's just got obviously a little bit of history there. And when this 90 years ago, the people of Manchester had a little interest in soccer, and when West Gorton FC was formed in 1880, it soon died, mainly because the team played on a cricket ground and summer sportsmen kicked them off for ruining their pitch. So there was sort of that connection with cricket. I don't know if there was an interchange of cricketers and footballers at the same time, but it's still just Manchester City, of course, there. You've got Malcolm Allison was there, and Honours, got all the various things. So it's just quite nice. Seeing that. Also, Subbuteo. I love playing Subbuteo. Superstars. You too can have a body like mine. I'll prove it in only 7 days. Yeah. Saturday Selection. And Roger Fry and Jimmy of the City. I was always a fan of Jimmy of the City. I was never a fan of Bobby. Bobby was Jimmy the City was always my favourite. And Nipper as well. There's Nipper. So there's that. This one, Dreamer. Now, I don't know how many issues of Dreamer there were. This was issue 15, 1981. Apparently pull out poster, Miss Piggy's parties tips. Have a dream of Christmas. And I think that was the reason I bought it. Christmas. Anything Christmas. Quite often the weird thing is you did actually have some lovely little stories here as well. So you got the stories, you got the puzzles, but also you had these ones where you had the sort of photo strip as well. And this one, what's this one? Natalia, oh, The Lonely Rider. I thought, this is where, of course, it changed. It did start changing when you had all these sort of magazines, that photo novels or whatever it was called. Something. Of course, a lot of them were very popular in like Spain and all those sorts of things. Telenovela or whatever they were called. Ginty and Lindy. This one, 7p. This one, Spectre of the Toltecs. Get that right as well. Golden-eyed mysterious girl from Mexico, which is quite an unusual story. The Mystery of Martine. Tessa's adored big sister. Sinister change creeping over. And there were some of these stories were very, very unusual. It's Sue's Fantastic Fun Bag. I don't know what was fun about. Oh, of course, the bag probably had sort of various things that would pop up. they really, really did have some very, very intense stories. Made Up Mandy. I always wondered about the authorities and whether anyone actually looked at these and said, what? These magazine comics were putting stories in that were quite, in some cases anyway. Certainly compared with when you sort of see the Marvel comics and the sort of way that the superhero ones. Though, of course, at the same time, you weirdly had these sort of stories. You had those really quite intense, like Victorian stories where they were really pretty. And then you got this one, Gertie Grit, The Hateful Brit. Really? That's just an odd title as well, isn't it? There were some strange stories in this. Go On, Hate Me. When you look at these old ones, Ginty and Lindy, and of course it was Ginty as well before it combined. I think it was Tammy and Ginty as well. They all started combined, Ginty and Misty. That incorporation thing always happened. Now this one, this is unusual, Tintin. Again, the French magazines probably had similar stories, I don't know, that were very... But somehow I think there was a very unique British sort of look about these comics that perhaps other ones didn't. I got this one because of Gil Kane. I was just online, I think it was in Facebook. Jason Drum, I'd never heard of him before. Jason Drum, and of course it's Gil Kane. And you can see the artwork there, lovely bit of colour. Well, the story did not obviously continue, but it was a pity because it was fine, but of course it's in French. You can see there. Modeste Pompon. I have no idea. My French was terrible. I can just about read it, but speaking it, no hope in a million years. Mainly because a lot of it is I studied Spanish quite a lot, so Spanish is fine, but when it comes to French, very similar. So there's quite a lot of there's sort of words that you think, oh yes, that's it, and so you can work it out to a degree. Bernard Prince there. I wish I'd continued on with my French a bit more, but I didn't. So, however, this one is Oh Boy. Again, this was one of the ones I got at the market. New photo. Again, these sort of, and of course got Fab there. Obviously, that was the magazine. Fab was back, obviously, in the 60s. But it all changed. You had these stories. Again, you got here, Summer in March, and you got there, and you got stories there. Quite often, what happened, you'd have these like quite famous people. You suddenly be looking through this, and you see George Michael or something. And I think one of these, has got George Michael. I don't know if this one does, but some of these stories you suddenly think, or something like Roger Moore or something would turn up in one of them, and you think, oh, that's X, Y, Z. Not all, but sometimes these people, you got here, living in the 80s, you've got obviously some news comic strips there. There's that one, and often, that's strange on the covers quite often as well. And this one, and Mates, it's changed. So it was Fab there. Then you got and Mates. So that was 1981. This was 1981 as well. Wasn't much longer after. The great #1 issue. Was this #1? They changed. Oh no, number 29. 239. That's strange. Just the way I put it. Win. The the great #1 issue. And then it's issue 239. Bit confusing. 3. Adam Bears All, obviously Adam and the Ants. And you've got here Record Breaker, face to face with Adam. And you've also got you and Your Rights. All that's great stuff. So you've got all about various articles about what about the police, sort of about growing up, etc., etc. Let's see again. Oh, of course, can't find one. I'm certain I've seen one of these ones that had some. You think, oh, that's XYZ. You've got obviously another story there, An Eye for an Eye, The Village of Blood. And another one. This one is the final one of all the way through. Shower Power, Fashion Gets Wet, The Liverpool Lad We Loved and Lost. Obviously, John Lennon. I assume it's not referring to this guy. So, Looking for Love, Best of British, Stateside Gossip, Modern Girl's Guide to Survival, Shattered Dream of Love. Obviously, an article there, or story. And got this one again. No. Strange. I really honestly, I thought I had, maybe I've seen it in a book. I suppose that's probably the reason. Obviously Lennon, The Liverpool Lad We Loved. And you got there The Love Smoothies. And no, there's no one, I can't recognise anyone, but quite often you did see those sort of things, a model that you think, oh, that's XYZ. And Jermaine Jackson on the back. So that is a run through of all of my comics. So I hope you found this of interest. What ones have you got? Have you collected any of these sort of ones? At one point, I actually tried to collect every single, not issue 1 of everything, but I tried to get 1 issue of every single magazine. I abandoned that eventually, but I was going for like the Cherie one, the, I don't know, Marilyn, Valentine. There was loads of these brilliant ones back in the 50s, and then all the way through the 60s, all the various 60s ones, the various, obviously the Ginties, the Tammies, the Lindies, just getting 1 issue, as well as Wizard, Buster, and loads of other ones. Can't remember all the time. And also Core, Whopper, Whizzer and Chips, and many others. I tried to go through all of them. Now, unfortunately, I got rid of lots of them, so I didn't. But I have tried to, every time I see a copy of an old magazine. And saying that, I did see it went to the market this weekend, and they had loads and loads of old magazines and comics. And some I thought, oh, they had some, but they were all busters. And I didn't. I think I've got 1 buster. I don't really want to buy lots of a particular comic anymore. So I was thinking, if it had been sort of unusual ones that I hadn't got, I would have thought, oh, I'll get those. But it didn't. It was all sort of ones that I'd already had similar issues before. So I thought, I'm not going to get those. But do you still collect all these sort of ones? Do you go? It's very hard to find UK comics. For some reason, being in the UK, you'd think that we would have all these places where you'd find, local charity shops. You'd have piles of these old comics. And maybe you do, maybe up in the north, maybe in the Midlands, maybe they're more. But down where I live, I go quite often around various places around Kent, around Sussex, whatever, and you go in shops, you never see any of these piles of these old comics, unless you go to a specialist like Dave's Comics comes to mind, or obviously 30th Century Comics before they closed. Obviously, they've got their online website, which is great. But it's so hard. Even comic marts really don't have vast amounts of these. They occasionally have a few, but most of the tables, 99% of them, are US comics, which of course are the most people obviously want to spend the biggest money on. They're not going to spend, I can't imagine that, oh boy, this issue particularly will suddenly become £6,000 or £7,000 and slabbed at any time soon. So I guess that's the reason why these sort of ones still are just not collected in the same way. But it is quite sad that a lot of the sort of UK comics, British comics, whatever you want to call it, all sort of gone or disappeared or very hard to get. You don't even have jumble sales and things or various things. Maybe they turn up on various boot sales. I don't know. Maybe people clear out their sort of lofts or whatever, or, in the attics, and they suddenly decide, sell those. But as I don't go to the boot fairs, it's possibly that I'm missing all those wonderful magazines. But even Alan Class ones. Alan Class you can find. They're probably about the only real UK ones that you can really find in reasonable amounts in, say, comic marts. So, anyway, please put some comments about how you're collecting of UK comics. How do you find it? Anyway, hope you found this of interest. Bye.